Welcome to the everyday adventures of the Wheelie Hogs. Join little Wee and his family, especially Nana, as they live their lives alongside friends and neighbours in Hoglington. Farmer Gus to the rescue. It was a very stormy night in Hoglington. Most of the Wheelie Hogs in the lane and the rest of the village were being kept awake all night by the howling wind and the heavy, heavy rain hitting hard against their windows. Little Wee had not managed to get to sleep at all, and when the loudest thunderclap he had ever heard happened right above the house, and the brightest flash of lightning that he'd ever seen happened, little Wee jumped out of bed, clutching Teddy, and wheeled straight into Mama and Papa's room, where he leapt into bed with them for safety. Mama and Papa were already awake. They couldn't sleep either. "I haven't seen thunder and rain like this for a very long time," said Papa. "I think there might be some damage in Hoglington come the morning. The wind is so strong. I think maybe some fence panels might get blown down." "Oh, I hope nothing too serious happens," says Mama. "We will have to go and check on the neighbours tomorrow to make sure they're all okay." At that moment there was another loud rumble of thunder, and a crack, 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 and a flash of lightning which lit the whole bedroom up. "It's all right, Teddy," said little Wee to Teddy reassuringly. "We'll be safe in here with Mama and Papa." "Yes, you will," replied Mama, "but I could do with a brew and maybe some toasted crumpets. Anyone else coming?" And with that said, Papa and little Wee, joined by Teddy, jumped out of bed and followed Mama to the kitchen for a stormy late-night feast. When they got to the kitchen, Nana was already at the table with a couple of candles lit. "There's no electricity, I'm afraid. The lightning must have hit a power line, so I've boiled my old kettle on the gas hob. Fancy a cuppa, anyone?" "Oh, yes, please, Nana," they all said. "That's exactly what we came into the kitchen for." "Me too, please, Nana," said Pinky as she appeared in the kitchen doorway. "I can't believe Rainbow is asleep. I just checked in on them." Pinky Bow laughed in disbelief. As the family all sat around the kitchen table, enjoying a brew and some crumpets that Nana had toasted over the gas rings, they were all very quiet and a little concerned about how bad the storm was getting. It was so loud, and the thunder and lightning seemed to be right above the house. "It's a bit scary," said Pinky Bow. "Yes, it is," agreed Mama, as another very loud crack, crack, crack of thunder and lightning happened. "But we must remember that it's just a storm and it will pass. We will be all right." Just as Mama had said that, there was the most almighty crack, creak, more cracks, and then a big crashing sound from outside. The sound was even louder than the thunder. And suddenly, the sound of the storm began to subside. The wind dropped, the thunder and lightning moved away and sounded very distant, and everything became much calmer. "I think that's the worst of it over," said Papa. "Come on, everyone, back to bed. I think there's going to be quite a lot of clearing up to do in the morning." "Can me and Teddy sleep in with you and Mama, please?" asked little Wee, still a bit nervous after the storm. "Of course you can," replied Papa. "But tell Teddy not to wriggle. It keeps me awake." "I will," chuckled little Wee. And they all went back to their beds, except Rainbow, who hadn't moved from their bed the whole time. When morning arrived, the family were woken up by the sound of shouts and machinery coming from the lane at the front of the house. Little Wee went to the window. "It's Farmer Gus in his Burberry hat, clearing branches from the road," he shouted. And then, "Oh no, Mama, Papa, come and see. It's the big old sycamore tree from the front. It's blown down straight into our front garden. I think we're trapped in the house." And sure enough, When Papa tried to open the front door, he couldn't. The door was lodged shut by branches from the tree, and so were the windows. Let's try the back door, says Mama. But no, same thing. But instead of a tree blocking the door, it was the garden table. Oh well, that storm really was strong last night, said little Wee. It knocked down a tree and lifted our garden table. Wow, what are we going to do? We're trapped in the house. But before anyone could say anything else, they could hear Farmer Gus in his Burberry hat shouting to them. Can ye hear me, Hogs? Shh, shh, said Papa, and then he replied, Yes, Farmer Gus, we can hear you. OK, keep ye all away from them windows. I'm going to shift this old tree for ye, then ye can get out. Did you hear that? Yep, we heard you, Farmer Gus, replied Papa, as he moved everyone away from the windows. Go for it, Papa shouted. Then there was the sound of engines roaring and tractors chugging and chains straining, and then branches creaking and scraping, and then more engines roaring and chugging, and then clear, shouted Farmer Gus in his Burberry hat. That's it then, Hogs, you're free. You can come out now. The Wheelie Hogs made their way out onto the lane. The beautiful old sycamore tree had blown down into their garden, and the rest of the lane was covered in branches, garden furniture and rubbish bins, and all sorts of things. Little Wee even spotted a pair of old bloomers stuck up high in a hedge. Suddenly, there was a voice from the doorway. What on earth has happened here? It was Rainbow, looking shocked. Well, said Nana, who was stood behind them, there was an almighty storm last night, Rainbow, and you slept right through it. I wish I could sleep like you. Everyone was looking at Rainbow, who was still looking up and down the lane in disbelief. And, shouted Little Wee excitedly, we were trapped in the house by the fallen tree, but Farmer Gus and his Burberry hat came to the rescue. Thank you, Farmer Gus, the family all said together. You've been very busy all morning. Do you fancy a brew and a crumpet? Asked Nana. Aye, I don't mind if I do, said Farmer Gus. Until next time, roll with the Wheelie Hogs.